Hello everyone, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Umineko When They Cry, episode 8. So last time, we pretty much got every character except for Burn Castle and Erika, right? They had an after party, they had a reunion, even Will and Leon was there, to my surprise. And I think the story is gonna go in a different direction now, gonna be much more serious. Maybe Twilight, because Angie was out and then, yeah, blood was showing again, right? So we're gonna find out. We're gonna continue.
開けてよろしいですか?
寝ていたら悪いからとノックはしなかったんだが、鍵をかけたってことは起きたって証拠だしな。一度ノックするか。
Butler knocked on the door and called Angie's name. However, there was no response from the other side. He pressed his ear against the door, listening carefully, but there was no hint of Angie unhappily throwing a cushion at it.
一通りへそを曲げてから、また寝ちまったのかもな。開けてくれるか。
かしこまりました。
Shannon took out her master key and unlocked the door. Then stepped back to let Butler go through.
エンジェ、入るぞ。
I like how calm Butler is talking there. Angie, I'm coming in. Speaking a quiet voice to avoid waking Angie if she was asleep, Butler opened the door. Then, just as the door was opened, a chilly breeze drifted by. The breeze, which felt like outside air, immediately caught the attention of the pair and they looked at each other. It could be seen at a glance that Angie wasn't in the parlor. The curtains on the wide-opened window fluttered about.
エンジェ。
A blanket lay crumpled on the sofa. It sat there just as Angie had left it after waking up. The blanket was slightly warm. Clearly, she had been here until a short while ago.
エンジ様、いらっしゃいませんか?
She obviously wasn't playing hide and seek. Angie was nowhere to be seen in the parlor. Butler peered out the open window into the rainy blackness. So she slipped out of the window in this rain and went where?
エンジ様は窓から出て行かれたというのでしょうか?
寝ぼけるにも。
She couldn't have left from the main entrance, so she probably doesn't have an umbrella. It was very hard to imagine a reason Angie might have for going outside in this weather. I have a bad feeling about this. This shouldn't be happening. I'm the game master of this game board. So why are we in the situation that the game master can't understand? A large bolt of lightning lit up the surrounding area for an instant, but I was unable to see any trace of Angie. So where did Angie go? What did she find?
次は私が問題を出す番ね。
Okay, Lambda Delta time.
ワンホールの3分の1のケーキと4分の1のケーキと5分の1のケーキがお皿に乗ってるの。
So they're doing another quiz, I guess. Can we join?
ワンホールを食べるのに30分かかるとして、食べ終わった時お皿にケーキはいくつあるでしょう?
At that moment, there was a roar of thunder and the lights flickered. The cheery voices vanished in an instant, like candles being blown out.
0個でしょ?
Ooh,
あんたが引っ掛けられた問題じゃない?
the cat is here. Amid the silence, one voice rang out and answered Lambda's riddle. She's here. Burn Castle is here. The crowd parted in the form of a girl 1,000 years old, which came into view. She had been invited. She was an official guest holding an invitation to this party.
遅刻してごめんなさい。パーティーを盛り上げる催しの準備をしていたら、すっかり遅くなってしまって。
As Burncastle spoke, she looked around at everyone.
あら、かけらの海で朽ち果てたと思っていたら。
Actually, that was what I was thinking. Like, so I was kind of shocked last time that they were here. I mean, Leon and Will, right? I thought they were gone, at least maybe for now, and then maybe we could see them maybe a little bit later in this episode. But yeah, they were here early. I mean, kind of early.
今は私の駒よ。素敵でしょ？
She stared at Leon and Will with an unnerving smile on her face, but she seemed to lose interest.
バトラーはどこ？ベアとは？招待客が来たのよ。出迎えてほしいものだわ。
俺はここだ。
そなたを招きはした。だが、来るとは思わなかったのでな。なるほど。これは奇跡というわけだ。
うまいことを言うじゃない。何をみんな静まり返っているの？パーティーでしょ？わざとらしいくらいに賑やかにしてちょうだい。それとも、私を沈黙で迎えるという余興なの？
今度はお前の番だ。
何が？
バトラーはどこだとお前は尋ねた。だから俺はここだと答えた。次はお前の番だ。
何の話だ？何かあったのか？
エンジェが消えた。
Angie.
ゲームマスターの俺にさえ、どこに行ったかわからない。
そんなバカな。これはそなたのゲームであろう？そんなことがあるわけがない。
エンジが消えたのがゲームマスターバトラのシナリオでないならば、ゲームマスターが他にいることになるわね。
そのようなことがあるというのか？
ええ。私も驚いてるわ。胸がすくような楽しいゲームを始めようとゲーム版を広げたら、全く同時にバトラもおかしなゲームを始めていたというわけ。ゲームマスターが2人なんておかしなこともあるものね。
それはつまり、
そうなるな。ゲームマスターのバトラの描いていないシナリオが生み出せるのは、もう一人のゲームマスター殿しかいないということになるのだから。
パーティーを盛り上げる催しの準備ってやつ？
ラムダたちはクイズ大会で楽しく盛り上がってたわね。だから私もそれに加わることにしたわ。
エンジェは、その人質のつもりというわけか。
そういうことよ。バトラ、ベアと。
So I wonder how this game is gonna go though, right? Like I thought Angie was gonna be like, let's say the focal point. No, what I mean is, for example, you have, like I say, battles in between the characters. I thought Angie was the one who's gonna be there, but now she's taken hostage. I don't know, we'll see, I
あ
guess.
なたたちにゲームを挑みたいの。拒否権はないわ。エンジェが大事な妹ならね。
何が望みだ？
あんたとベアとを巡るゲームで、私はラムダと賭けをしていた。それには、私は負けたことを認めなくてはならない。 少なくとも、ラムダには、ね。
ベルンってドライそうに見えて、なかなか執念深いのね。つまりこういうことでしょ？私には負けたけど、バトラやベアトに負けたわけじゃない。
It seemed as though Burnt Castle might smile. I actually thought she was gonna smile though. And then there's gonna be like a burst of music. But she didn't smile. However, she didn't. Those cold eyes spoke without words. Butler understood. He had played so many games against Beato. Those games had been a wordless message from Beato. So he knew. He understood.
俺たちと勝負したい。そういうことか。
恐ろしい敵であるぞ。
だが引けない。
わかっておる。エンジェをベルンカステル教のおもちゃにさせるわけにはいかぬ。
Beato understood as well. She understood why Burnt Castle was asking for one final battle.
ベルンが正々堂々となんてね。
笑えば。
どうして？
ありがとう。
Lambda Delta understood as well. Before the tale of Butler and Beato ended, before everything was locked away in the cat box, Burnt Castle would finally move from the audience to the stage. That witch who had hidden off to the side of the stage, unwilling to come out into the light, would now show that she had the courage to step forward onto the stage itself. As a friend, Lambda Delta showed that she understood Burnt Castle's human emotions, which had given her this courage.
私にできることは？
私のゲームの立ち会い人をお願い。
いいわよ。そのゲームに参加したら、エンジェを解放することを約束できるならね。
当然であるぞ。その約束がないならば、そなたの茶番に付き合う義理などない。
I mean, that's obvious though, because yeah, why would we do this? If she's not gonna free Angie afterwards.
義理はないけど、エンジェは戻らないわよ。
You may not owe me anything, but you'll never see Angie again.
ならばそなたは、負け犬の烙印を数百年間のんびり楽しむこととなろうぞ。
ベアト、挑発はよせ。引けない勝負だ。
Now that a hostage had been taken, their ability to negotiate had disappeared. However, Lambda Delta was agreeing to become an observer if that would make Burnt Castle promise to release Angie. Unless she held Burnt Castle to a promise like that, the latter would have nothing to lose. To make his final fight, Burnt Castle wanted a proper one. Lambda Delta made her agree to this.
無論よ、ラムダ。約束するわ。ゲームが終わったら、エンジェは解放する。
私の顔に泥を塗らないでよ。私、書かされた恥は絶対に相手を後悔させるまで許さないんだから。
Lambda Delta spoke in a soft, threatening tone. However, Burnt Castle laughed lightly as though the look on Lambda Delta's face was merely cute.
誓うわ。私たちの友情にかけて。
ヒュー。
Lambda Delta whistled and grinned. Apparently this was the most reliable oath Burnt Castle could utter.
わかった。
Lambda Delta nodded, looked between Butler and Burnt Castle, and then spoke.
絶対の魔女ラムダデルタの名において、あんたたちの勝負の立ち会い人を引き受けるわ。バトラ、ベアト、異存はないわよね。
Butler and Beato nodded at each other and then nodded at Lambda Delta to show their determination.
嬉しいわ。やっと私たちは戦えるのね。
いずれ、お前とは戦うことになると予感していた。
いつから？
わからない。ひょっとしたら、お前の名を知るよりも、もっと前からかもしれない。
Butler vaguely remembered her speaking to him somewhere in an unconscious world he couldn't recall. But at the time, it had sounded like she was giving him advice for his fight with Beato. But thinking back on it, there was a bit more to it than that. She might have been a cat fighting from the sidelines, too scared to go out into the bright sunlight. So I had a vague premonition that eventually we would stand opposed to each other on the game's board in some way.
こいつも、プレイヤーの一人だったんだ。ゲーム版を片付ける最後の最後で。俺は、その勇気ある決闘の申し出を、受けて立ちたい。お前の駒だった。あの勇敢な女の名にかけてな。
私はエリカに決闘を押し付けたわ。勝ちたかった。それ以上に負けたくなかった。敗北の味を知るかもしれない恐怖が私を災難だ。そして今にして思うと、あの時のあんたたちに私は嫉妬していたんだわ。
エリカはお前の優秀な駒で、俺の好敵手だった。その最後を見取らず、忘却の深淵に葬ったお前を、俺は許さない。
It's quite funny though, right? Bernkastel the cat, Erica the rat.
どうしろというの？エリカに謝れと？
I think Butler is saying, I want you to bring Erica back.
エリカを忘却の深淵から救え。
Yeah.
そしてこのパーティーに招け。
エリカを救え？
わらわもバトラに同じだ。あやつは敵方の駒なれど、その役割に忠実であったに過ぎぬ。好敵手なくして、ゲームは成立せぬ。
I mean, that was her role anyways, is to, yeah, her wants is to please Bernkastel, and even though she was quite annoying, she's, like, I guess, fun to try and argue with. Because of how she talks, I mean. Like, whenever she talks, she mocks them, right? And it's quite funny sometimes.
敵であることは変わらぬが、我らの大切な友人だ。
あれだけあんたたちを苦しめたのに。
俺たちはフェアに戦った。勝敗が互いの運命を分けたが、決闘を交わした俺たちはずっと友人だ。
ベルンも友人になりたいのよね。だからベルンもフェアに戦いたくなったんでしょ？
笑えば？
笑わぬ。
むしろ歓迎だ。
人質を取ってるのに？
取らなきゃ。お前は舞台に出られなかったんだろ？
There had been no need to take a hostage. Butler and Beato had more than willing to accept this final duel if Bernkastel wished it. It was hard to make out anything from Bernkastel's silent expression.
いいわ。
何が？
エリカを深淵から解放するわ。
For someone as proud as Burn Castle, forgiving the piece that would cause her defeat should have been nearly unbearable. Butler knew this, so he realized how much this bit of compassion had cost Burn Castle. Burn Castle snapped her fingers and a black cat slipped out of her shadow.
深淵の奥底に存在に放り投げたから、到着は遅れるかもしれない。
構わぬ。料理も酒も決して尽きることはないのだから。
おゆき、子猫。あの子をここに案内しなさい。
When she gave this order, the cat melted into the darkness, its bell jingling.
まさか、あんたがエリカを許すなんてね。
許す気はないわ。だからもう、私の駒じゃない。誰かが拾えば？あんただって、リオンたちを拾ったわけだし。
ベルンカステル。感謝する。
じゃあ、甘ったるい時間はこれくらいでいい？すでに私には苦痛なの。
いいぜ。ゲームはどこでする？ここで賑やかにでも、静かないつもの場所でも、どこでも構わない。
ベルンカステル教が、これほどの大勢の前に姿を現す勇気を見せたのだ。これ以上、いじめることもあるまいぞ。
そうだな。ならば、いつものあの場所しかないだろうぜ。
ベル、問題ない？
ないわ。
ごめんね、パーティーのみんな。私たちはちょっと失敬するけれど、みんなは引き続き楽しんでいてちょうだい。ゼパル、フルフル、あんたたちが盛り上げてて。
So how are we gonna play this?
エリカが来たら、みんなで歓迎してあげて。
ラムダデルタ教？仰せのままに！
では招こうぞ。我らが思考を巡らして戦うにふさわしい、いつものあの部屋へ。
When Butler snapped his fingers, the space shattered. They were now in the smoking room of the witches, the place where witches had once debated, schemed, and reasoned all they could. Burn Castle had been invited there once again, and the final game would now begin.
ゲームの用意はあるのか？
もちろん。じっくりと作り上げた自信作のゲームよ。
ゲームマスターがベルンで、バトラとベアとはプレイヤーということね。
Wait, so I'm kind of confused. Do we have a game that we are on right now? Correct? The one on, yeah, the one where everyone is happy, I suppose. So now we're gonna start another game again. Okay.
ベルンが殺人ゲームの物語を語り、プレイヤーの二人が人間のトリックで再構築できるかを挑む、いつものゲームね。
ベルンカステル教の描くシナリオがどのようなものか興味があるぞ。
It's not just that. Yeah, I wonder how we're gonna do it though. Like, are we gonna do it like all in all or what?
俺たちが青き真実で指摘し、お前が赤き真実でそれを弾く。そのルールで問題ないな。
私のゲームはもっとシンプルよ。
Okay, simple game.
ただの犯人当てクイズ。
Okay, so it's a simple game of just guessing, I guess. So I guess she's gonna give us the actual scenario. We're not gonna like live through it, for example.
あんたたちと赤やら青やらの攻防をやるつもりはないの。
へえ。
So it's much more easier, I guess.
それってどんなゲーム？先に見せてもらってもいい？
Berncastle held her palm upwards and a palely glowing fragment appeared there. Lamdadalda brushed it with her hand and shut her eyes. This is interesting.
ね。
If it's a quiz, maybe it's gonna be the same as the quiz we did earlier in this episode? That would be nice though, yeah, I would really enjoy that.
簡単なゲームでしょ。
確かに。これはバトラたちがやっていた思考ゲームに比べたら、はるかに単純だわ。これはもはや、魔女と人間のゲームじゃない。
そうよ。これはもはや人間のゲーム。
驚いたわ。ベアトというファンタジーと戦うためにベルンが用意したゲームが純粋なミステリーだったなんてね。
説明してくれ。
極めてシンプルよ。ベルンの用意した物語を感激する。
So we are gonna watch it.
その中にはいくつかのルールがあるけれど、それに従って読み解くことで、一なる真実、すなわち回答が得られるようにできているの。
つまり、普通に推理小説だってことなのか？
なるほど。となれば、赤と青の真実のつばぜり合いなど、もはや不要ということか。
So basically it's gonna be, here is the story, here is this, here is that, and then you solve it. That's it. No need for red fruits, blue fruits, so basically no fighting, I guess. In Beato's games, the argument had been whether the story was a mystery or not. However, Berncastle's game was a mystery. There was no need to argue over that from the start.
動機もトリックも切り捨てた。
So no more motives or tricks. It's just straightforward. Who is gonna be the culprit? Is that it?
あんたたちに求める答えはたった一点よ。
フーダニット。
Yeah, who done it?
なんと単純かつ、これ以上ないほどに我らの決着にふさわしいゲームなのか。
What was it again? Who done it? Why done it? I forgot the last one. It's been a while, but yeah. Just find out who done it, who is the culprit. We're done. Fairly simple.
そうだな。何の小細工もない。ストイックなまでにシンプルだ。
これは正真正銘の決闘であるな。
I think I remembered. It is who, why, and I think how done it, right?
立会人として宣言するわ。このゲームは解けるようにできている。
This game is made to be solvable.
つまり、あんたたちの決闘の舞台として公平であることを保証する。ベルン、これは老婆心だけれど、本当にいいの？バトラとベアとはミステリー好きで交際を始めたのよ。私にはよくひねったシナリオだとは思えるけれど、この二人に通用するかはちょっとわからないわよ。
私の精一杯のシナリオが通用しないなら、その時はその時よ。
大事なのは、ベルンカステル教が渾身の力で描いたゲームであることだ。
そうだな。それが俺たちに通じるかどうか。ただそれだけのシンプルなゲームなんだ。ラムダ、ありがとう。お前のおかげで、この決闘が正々堂々としたものであることが証明された。
どういたしまして。私も嬉しいわ。ベルンが挑むというこの貴重な戦いに立ち会わせてもらえるなんて光栄よ。
そなたを対戦相手に迎えられ、わらわも光栄だ。
私もよ。あんたを見下してた。 勝負の場にでもせずにね。そんな、それまでの自分に虫唾が走る。だから、決闘させて。
うん。受けて立とうぞ。
私が勝ったら、今度こそあんたを思いっきり見下してあげる。そしてもし、私が負けるなら、私がきっと忘れているに違いない。あの感情を思い出させて。
うん。
ベルンカステル、お前が勝とうと負けようとも、
何？
この決闘が終わったら、俺たちは友人だ。
これ以上はやめて。
Enough of the cheesy stuff.
くすぐったくて死んでしまいそう。
Lambda clapped her hands. A pleasant sound rang out.
朗読をベルンが？それとも私が引き受けようかしら？
朗読者は不要よ。朗読の巫女は自分の口を通して物語を脚色することも歪めることもできる。たとえ私のゲームに小細工がなくとも、朗読の術でいくらでもそれをすることができる。
A reader Miko can use her own voice to embellish or distort the tale. By having a reader, any amount of trickery could be added.
そうであるな。それもまた、ゲームマスターの権利の一つだ。
あんたたちとしたい決闘はシンプルでありたいの。だから、朗読者はいらない。あなたたちが自らの目と耳で物語を読みなさい。いい
の？それじゃベルンに有利なことがなくなっちゃうじゃない。
わかった。朗読者はいらない。俺たちが自分で。
朗読者がいないということは、いわゆる物語のとがきに一切の虚偽が混じらぬということか。
No falsehood contained in the narrated or narrated text.
受けて立つぞ、ベルンカステル。何の小細工もない、正真正銘のミステリーの一騎打ち。お前の正々堂々を、俺たちも正面から受け止めてやれ。
ありがとう。負けないわよ、私も。
それではダメであるな、ベルン教よ。
ああ、そうだな。ミステリーを突きつける魔女はそんな態度じゃダメだぜ。ああ、全然ダメだな。
Castle, realizing what Butler and Beato were asking for, snorted. Lambda Delta nodded at her, telling her to enjoy this final duel to the fullest.
人間と魔女が仲良く肩を並べてミステリー談義なんて。バカバカしいわ。笑えるわ。あんたたちの仲良しミステリーが私の用意したミステリーに通用するかどうか試してあげる。受けてみなさい。私のミステリー。
そうでなくては。奇跡の魔女、ベルンカステル教の挑戦状、確かに受け取ったぞ。
さあ、勝負開始だ。ゲームマスター、後宮バトラー。そして無限の魔女、ベアトリーチェがお相手してやる。ぶっ飛ばされても泣くんじゃねえぞ。
食らうといいわ。これがベルンカステルのミステリー。
Burnt Castle took a fragment containing the game and smashed it against a table, shattering it with a brilliant light as the game's scenario laid itself out. The curtain rose on the misery Burnt Castle had created. It's gonna be so fun though. Yeah, different kind of game, different style. I'm excited, no joke, I am excited. No sound but that of the falling rain filled the room. It covered the tragic scene in the bloody dining hall. At some point, Angie had fainted and fallen on the floor. Now her consciousness was slowly returning, forcing her to remember what had happened in this room. So she reflexively averted her gaze, even before the memory overtook her. 6 bodies lay in the blood-stained dining hall. Strangely enough, as her consciousness returned bit by bit, the terrifying scene before her seemed somehow less intense. This time, Angie was able to look at the 6 corpses. 6 corpses? Well enough to make out who they were. That's a lot. First, those are my own parents. Ooh. They are pitiful sight, colored bright red and a bloody makeup. And lying next to them is Uncle Hideyoshi and Aunt Ava. So, parents? No, I mean, are all of them gonna be the parents? Uncle Hideyoshi, the uncle who always says funny things and makes me laugh. And Aunt Ava, the aunt who seems to be so fond of me. Genji-san. Oh, Genji died as well. The servant is lying over there. And the one lying right here is Aunt Rosa. 6 people. A full 6 people had their lives taken from them and are lying in this room. Maybe I cried myself out before I fell unconscious. The scene before me was still terribly painful, but I was somehow able to look at it without losing my head. Wait, so is this it? Or is this a different one? I had already felt all the sadness I could at my parents' deaths. The next emotion that rose up inside me was a desire to check and see that everyone else was okay. In that instant, I heard a scraping sound. Just as I was about to relax again, thinking I must have imagined it, I heard the same sound again. It was probably coming from the door. Someone was clawing at the door from the outside. Of course, I had no way of knowing who it was. However, for some reason, I was sure that it was that black cat scratching at the door. That black cat was telling me to leave this room. I understood and put my hand on the doorknob. I immediately noticed something odd. The door is locked. The same bad feeling I'd felt after being locked in the parlor crawled up my spine. However, unlike the time in the parlor, this door unlocked itself easily when I turned the knob. I unlocked it and slowly opened the door. Beyond the door, I could see the dimly lit hallway and a cat dashing down it away from me. Then it stopped, its emerald eyes glittering in the darkness as though it was waiting for me to follow. The hallway was dark and wrapped in an eerie silence. When the black cat saw that I was coming, it walked forward as if guiding me. I could hear nothing except the creaking of the floor, the bell of the cat, and the sound of the storm outside. The party is being held in the hall. I should be able to hear at least a little of the noise from this hallway.
私が食堂で意識を失ってる間に深夜になっちゃったのかな。
It was a reasonable conclusion. Then we finally reached the main hall. The hall was frigid and no trace of that party remained. Could all of that fun have been just an illusion? The black cat's bell rang out. When I looked up, I saw that it had its feet on the stairway to the second floor, urging me to follow it.
2階に行くの？
The black cat seemed to nod and then silently went up the stairs. Guests were allowed to go wherever they wanted on the first floor. But the second floor was Krause's family house, and I remembered getting in trouble for trying to go up there. However, at that moment, I couldn't think of any options other than following the cat. So I don't know what is happening right now. Is Angie's story? Okay, let's continue first. I walked along the dark hallway with the black cat. Eventually, we reached one of the doors. The black cat scratched at the door and turned to look at me. It must have been telling me to open it.
うん。開けるね。
I put my hand on the doorknob and felt the resistance of a lock again. This door is locked. I turned around to tell the cat this, but inexplicably, a single key lay right in front of the cat. Angie picked it up and stuck it in the keyhole. As she did, she finally noticed something strange with her fingertips. Blood. Somehow Angie's fingertips had been stained with red blood. She let out a short cry and the key slipped out and fell to the ground. She finally realized. In the darkness she hadn't noticed before, the black cat's key was covered with blood. The emotions that had gone numb in Angie sprang back. A terrified scream rang out through the dark hallway. Even Angie would eventually open that door. The door led to Natsuhi's room. Natsuhi's room was a terrible mess. Blankets and sheets were torn. Cosmetics and books lay all over the place as though a typhoon had just ripped through it. And there were corpses. Krause and Natsuhi's corpses laid sprawled on the floor. Very shortly, Angie will step into this room. She will then scream in terror once more. And it isn't limited to the dining hall and Natsuhi's room. In a stormy rose garden, Shannon's tragic corpse lies exposed. Partway down the path to the rose garden is Jessica's corpse. When Angie finds that, she'll probably dash crying and screaming into the guest house. And death awaits her inside the guest house as well. Just inside the front door is Nanju's corpse. In the servant room nearby, even Goda and Kumasawa lie dead. The total number of corpses is 13. A full 13 corpses are waiting for Angie. They wait in the mansion and the guest house on this desolate Rokinjima. Poor Angie, exposed to the wind and rain and tormented by thunder to find them. So I wonder though, is this gonna be the story? Or the tale? For when Butler, Beatrice versus Burn Castle? Or is this a different one, right? Because look at the Burns puzzle. We're gonna find out, I guess, right? But maybe different because... it was different though, we'll see. So anyways, we will take a break here so we can prepare, I guess, for this next tale. Or next game. Is it gonna be long? We're gonna find out. So we are gonna continue this and do more of Umineko When They Cry, episode 8, in the next one. So I'll just see you then. Bye bye.